Alrighty, going to do a little dev diary here. It's been a while since I've done sort of a proper update of where I'm at. So I've been working on Secret Keep for a long time by myself, building up the tech and stuff. And now I'm at the point where I've put in a funding application to hopefully get some money to bring some more people onto the team, some artists who can actually start to work on environment art and develop the art style and everything, and a narrative designer to help sort of work on the scenario. So it's exciting. I've put in my application, fingers crossed, and it's been really exciting since I've done that. Like, I've spent so long focused on the technology and building up all the programming skills and the systems to make the game possible, like all the sound propagation and the AI system and generating the world. It's really exciting to be at the point where potentially I can get a little team together and actually take the next step. And it's meant that I can start really sort of thinking about the design more, and I've started to sort of sketch out little maps and think more in detail about the types of buildings, the types of dungeons or locations you can go to, and how to generate them. So that's been really fun and exciting. So let's have a quick look at what I've been doing lately. I've been doing a bunch of like pictures and thinking about graph paper and modular kit pieces and stuff. So I've been doing little drawings like this, and also thinking about like, how do I present ideas to the team once I have a team of people to actually go, okay, we're going to work on the castle kit. Okay, so how am I going to express to them like the vision of what we need to do, give examples of the sort of structures and shapes that I'm looking to make. So that's kind of why I started to work with some stuff like this. And then I thought, I started to sort of watch some YouTube tutorials and stuff about doing D&D maps and D&D castles and stuff. And I liked some of their techniques. Like I did sort of another version of that one where I've done it in marker and then rubbed out all the pencil to come up with some sort of more bold, defined, finished sort of shapes. One idea I had recently was like, what if I could sum up all the main parts of the games, player abilities, you know, making magical recipes, different locations, different factions, and sum them up in like 10 pictures, like 10 watercolor paintings or 10 marker sketches, where you go like, this kind of sums up an environment, or it sums up, here's a little diagram with the player doing the different things that they can do. So I sort of wanted to build up some of my skills at just sketching things out and working things through. So here's sort of like an idea of, say, how would you fit a dungeon under a building? So here we've got our little building over here, and then the dungeon that goes down underneath under the land. So I'm just sort of playing around and thinking about shapes and rooms and the sorts of things a generator would need to be able to do, the types of different rooms and things we need. This one was kind of a fun one. I like this one with the sort of the big moon up there. Sort of a little bit more of a moody, sort of a magical looking tower. So yeah, it's been really fun actually, after all the time, spending a lot of time on technology, to go like, part of the reason I'm doing all this is I'm traditionally a game designer, and to make the games I want to make, like the Thief or Dishonored, the sort of immersive sim RPG games, you know, Skyrim, sort of first person adventuring around and doing stuff, I've had to learn a lot of programming to create the foundation of the game. I think as I've looked around the Australian games scene over the last 25 years or so that I've been working in it, I can't really see studios making the sorts of games where I'm like, oh, that's where I'd like to apply, that's where I'd like to work, oh, I'd love to join that team. And so the whole time I've sort of been dreaming of making that studio, turning that thing into a reality. And it's been like a long path of stepping stone games along the way to build up the skills and the wherewithal to go like, what are all the pieces you need to make a game like this? And how can I also craft it and shape the design so a small team can do it? And so the scenario system and the way that I've sort of designed it out is intended that you can make levels and make content more quickly. And I think there's a lot of potential for it to work out really well and make, here's a little dungeon I was doing. I wanted to spec out like, what would an actual dungeon layout that I want to do take the form of? This could be like a big dungeon underneath some Sir Drake, one of the vassals of Lord Blood. What does it look like? What's down there? The hope is that you could sort of, it's almost like a D&D platform. Like, I like the idea that Secret Keep could go, you can make and define missions and story paths, and the player can find their way through it, and one player goes sort of this way and prefers these things, and one player goes this way and prefers these things. You can play it again and experiment, and that you can define them almost like a game master, a dungeon master coming and going, okay, I'm going to use these creatures, I'm going to make a new story, I'm going to combine these creatures and these locations and tell this story and put it together in like weeks or months instead of years, and go, cool, we've got another scenario, let's release it. Almost like the idea that they're these sort of outlandish adventures that you can go on and you can like put them out like funny old sort of sci-fi novels or fantasy novels from the 60s or something, with these sort of crazy settings and locations that you could go to. So we'll see how it goes, making like just a one-off adventure, a one-off game. But it's been really interesting looking into the sort of the world of D&D and map making. This is an idea for, say, using the castle rooms that I've already got. Could I build like, currently I can build my levels with a sort of generational prop gen sort of process, but they basically end up just being a prefab with some sort of generation rules on them. And the most simple form would actually be as if you hand built a location and you go, okay, this is going to be mission 7. There's going to be maybe a procedurally generated terrain, but I'm going to put my particular building, which is like the boss's castle, on to that island. And then I'm going to specify the exact rooms and layout and the guards that are in there, or the monsters or the traps. And I'm actually going to do that by hand and then say, that's the building that appears on this island. So actually, I like the idea of leaning into like a mix of, like, sometimes you might go, this is going to be the exact dungeon location level that the player is going to go through. So that's interesting to think about too. I like the idea of working with some more collaborators and other designers and going like, giving them options for how much they want to lean into handcrafted content as well as maybe prop gen content and stuff. So that's cool. Let's have a little look at the actual demo that I've submitted with my funding application, just to sort of see where things are at. So let's jump in. So we've got our little simple placeholder menu here. We're still in prototype land, and I've just got sort of simple single missions to do, whereas this should be a board with more letters coming in and different options of things you can do and sort of showing the world state. This is almost like the board game board, and you pick missions to go on to choose how you're going to go and try to sort of change the world, who you're going to side with, who you're going to go and fight against, what do you believe in. So here we're going to steal the Book of the Arcane from the Dark Knights to learn more about the Dark Portal. So this is all just sort of some placeholder examples I've made. Steal the Book of the Arcane and deliver it to the Mage's Circle. So they've asked me to do this job. So we jump in, we click in there, and this is the little mission that's been generated. So we start off here. I've got all my tips on screen, so they're taking up a bit of space, but that was sort of for the funding panelists to be able to see how to play. So we've got a castle over there in the mist. Let's head over and have a look. So in the final game, like, this is all just a prototype that sort of proves out all the tech and how it sits together. I've got myself an island, and I've got the objective location, which is the tower. In the final game, the idea, like the next steps that I would be designing is like, how do we make an island that's got various points of interest, and you can't necessarily just get straight to this castle. Maybe there's a big wall around it, so you've got a system for building walls around areas. And so, okay, so I can try to get over the wall, or I can try to get through the gate. There's some guards at the gate. You're sort of going around the island and reconnoitering and figuring out what you're going to do. So for example, let's just turn off the HUD and simplify things a bit here. Oh, we can hear a guard somewhere. Oh, there he is right there. So yeah, like at the moment, guards and creatures and that just sort of wander around fairly randomly on the island. The idea there would be to figure out, like how would we actually define maps so that they're more interesting, got more strategy, got more sort of choke points, more pressure points, and also place little sort of side objectives and things to do. So this is my simple little castle. This is where it's at the moment. This is like just a simple building generator. I'd love to, I guess I'm really excited about the idea of having some artists come on board and go, okay, let's look at these castles. What are the pieces that we would want to make make a castle out of, like walls and corner pieces and stuff. How do we make them look cool? These are just pieces I've built in Blender. You know, I'm not a very good artist, and I've just got kind of pretty bodgy textures and things on things. So I'd love to sort of bring the world to life and start to see, you know, little ruins and things leaning askew and variants on different wall parts to give it more life and give buildings more interesting sort of silhouettes as you come over a hill or something and you see it and you're like, whoa, what's this place, you know? Whereas at the moment it's kind of just a big square. Hello, friendo. So we can dong him. Oh. Missed him. So, yeah, and that's where, you know, these are currently just rooms with sort of random rooms stuck together. That's why I've been thinking about those mapping out sort of custom levels that, you know, a designer would create themselves and instantiate into the level. So in this mission, we'll just have a look at this one maybe. You have to find the Book of the Arcane. So currently this mission, this building is designed in a way that says that the Book of the Arcane will be at the top. These guards all need sort of proper patrol routes through a more... Whoa! Hey, buddy! Here I am! Come catch me! He's lost me. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Snuck her out. Oops, didn't even need to go up here. Jump back down. Uh-oh. Let's find this book. No. So, we've got some stuff to read. Oh, what's this? The Book of the Arcane. So we've snatchified our book. Let's head on out of here. So, you know, maybe when you read that book, when you grab it, maybe it also reads some contents. You'll have some special readable contents in there that gives a sense of what's written in the book. Or maybe you just grab it and say, oh, I can't even read what's in here. It's in some strange language. Anyway, I hope the mages know, you know, get what they need out of it. So their whole idea is to create different story paths with factions that you might feel some type of a kinship with, or you might decide that you really don't like what they stand for and you're going to like go out of your way to stop them. There'll be different people asking for your help and trying to sort of convince you why their cause is the right cause. And the player can explore through those and try different things. And maybe also do just side things and set their own goals that they want to do. You know, you could have collecting missions where you're getting ingredients, or exploring missions and stuff that have sort of their own reward. I like the idea that it's almost like scout badges. You know, you can kind of do these different things and get different sort of achievements or renown or whatever. We'll jump in our boat. Still need to sort of figure all those things out. The tricky thing about a game like this is, I think, is that when they're done really well, there's a resonance between all the different elements, the story, the low level, and when you zoom out, there's sort of themes of interest, and the different elements and systems sort of tie together to make the whole thing sing on another level. You know, it's not just sort of stuff stuck together arbitrarily. So that's opened up another mission here, find the 3 chrysalis shards. So the mages have pored over the Book of the Arcane and finally deciphered the secrets they are seeking. In order to open the dark portals, they must first find the 3 chrysalis shards, which will be used to open the portal. The only deposits known of chrysalis are amongst the lizard people in the desert, so you've got to go there and grab these crystals. Now this mission is Very simple. And it just, I did it to sort of prove out some more generator types, a different objective sort of activity. So basically you've got a red shard, a blue shard, and a green shard. And once you've got them all, you can disappear by boat. And the idea here was that it's just a little bit of a sort of a tease or a test of the idea that what you get asked to do, you might want to question rather than just doing it unquestioningly. So there's these lizards. They're another one of my enemy types. They look a bit beastly. They could just be considered monsters, but the fact is we don't really necessarily know much about the lizard people, and we're here to sort of pinch these chrysalis shards from them. But the story could sort of continue on and unravel to reveal that, like, well, actually, once you do this, the lizards come to you to say, like, why are you stealing our things? You know, you've offended us or hurt us in some way, or the mages are doing X, Y, Z, and you should really know more about it before you go and help them because, you know, there's these risks or threats to helping them. So it's sort of just a bit of a suggestion or planting the seed of this sort of thing. So here, this is like one generator can build a building with all different rooms and heights and sizes and things in it. This one is a simpler one that has a little podium and a gem on it and a few randomized walls around it. And you could expand this to be a more complex, you know, it's a camp with some lizards and they've got little patrol routes that they do around the area. So we'll grab that. So yeah, these are all just sort of seeds of systems that now they have the piping in there, they're plugged into the thing, and I'm now in a position where I can make more of these. So it's really exciting for me to be at the point where it's like, as traditionally, I'm a game designer and wanting to do level design and create stories and create worlds. But I've spent 10, 15 years learning to program to get to the point where it's like, okay, now I think I've got sort of an engine inside the Unity engine. I've built my own extra engine of tools and processes and features that let us get to work and build content quickly in a fun way that's expressive of the sort of games that I really want to play and make myself. So I see this game as having lots and lots of missions, and not all players will see all missions. You know, you'll sort of find your own path through. And I want to really, like, I've really focused on a structure to begin with rather than the content, because without structure in a computer game, you've sort of got nothing. Hey, buddy. You really need a structure to hang everything off. Like, I guess if you're writing a novel, you can just open up a document and start writing the first page. But while that's possible, and while I think even Stephen King maybe famously has an idea and then starts writing and sees where it goes, and he kind of likes that improvisational route through the story and sees how his characters deal with the tough problems they find themselves in. That's cool, but a lot of authors want to structure out a story and know how it's going to end, know what happens in the middle, know what all the plot points are, to give it that sort of structure. Like a Shakespearean play isn't just made up one page at a time. And games are even much more so like that, in that they're systems-based experiences, and without having characters, NPCs, terrains, places to go, you know, you can't just sort of string things together and see how it goes. So the idea here is I've really built up the structure of the game. We still need we've got all our crystals. And now, excitingly, I think it's time to actually dig in and go, okay, we can now flesh out the story, we can flesh out the design, and get in there. And doing that with a few other people, I think, is like what I've always wanted to do, have sort of a little band working on the thing together. And I've designed it also so that you could sort of put together a band or a group or a team and build a story, and then you could follow that up with a different story. You could go and explore some other corner of the world, some other part of the tale. So there you have it. We've had a little look at the game. I'm excited to get into it more, and hopefully that gives you a little taste of where things are going.